it up, and we'll kind of give it some more detail and some more pizzazz, maybe evidence to prioritize and look at. And I will add in copies of photos of the subpoenas between everybody and the highlighted pieces, including dates, so that we actually have something to go off of there. Because I think if we're going to go for the 10-day scope, we need to like just give it our all and hope to God a judge is interested.
I think we're gonna have no problem getting the judge interested. Most of the time, homicide is treated pretty seriously. You know, they're gonna take interest in someone dying in the city. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll work on Club's subpoenas, and I think that will work. I don't think we need a search warrant, unless we get more linking him to the actual murder, and then we could probably look for a murder weapon in his properties. It's long gone, I bet, but you never know.
I don't think we're gonna get Kleb's. Whoops, sorry. I don't think we're gonna get an SNS on Kleb. The goal here now is to request a probably, I'm gonna say to be safe, a week to 2 week delayed notice, because at this point, if Kleb doesn't give us anything in his subpoenas, we have to rely on the interrogation regardless. And if the interrogation falls through, if he even comes here, we're gonna be stuck.
Give me a second. How about that?
You know what I mean? I'm not saying the case is gonna go cold, but
no, we run out of leads at this point.
Yeah, the problem is that if Kleb stays quiet and there's no affiliation with Andy at all, and Andy's out of the picture, then we're left with Kleb. And if Kleb is unfortunately all we have and Kleb doesn't give us answers, this case is unfortunately going to get cold because we are working off of no evidence right now, which is unfortunate, but
yeah,
all we have is pretty damning timeline evidence on Kleb's contact with Manny. And that is all we have.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Even if unless we get just, the smoking gun in one of these subpoenas, text message wise, it's going to be tough. Or triangulation, putting them both together. That could be the thing, but he doesn't have any phone calls really that day.
Yeah, we need phone contacts too from days after the homicide, I think. In case we can get something out of Kleb via text. And then go from there. Assuming that this is our suspect, you would assume that he would probably be talking after the fact. I don't know.
Dispatch show 567 on 335 operating under 580.
Sorry, I'm also trying to take care of the search warrant.
No, you're fine.
Spirits.
You're good. I'm gonna start photographing some of the subpoenas stuff and then add it to the investigative.
Show is 10-8.
10-8, same timestamp.
Do you know if they've shared explorers?
Huh?
Do you know if there's shared explorers?
I don't think there are. Why do you want one?
I might use one to go look for weed.
You can have mine.
But then I
It's
have to
unmarked,
pay.
but I can... No, I'm sure if you found the right sergeant around here, they'd let you roll unmarked to go look for weed up in the hills for a little while.
Unmarked? Man, that sounds like an MCU supervisor thing. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
She hung up on me.
Wow. I guess you weren't the right sergeant.
I'll go fuck myself. Did you hear that?
No.
That shit hurt.
Listen, I have a pocket gay sergeant.
What?
What do you mean? Madison's my pocket gay sergeant. I go to her for all my questions.
All right. Well, I'll get my Explorer out. You can use it.
Thanks. Plus, I don't know how long Flop plans to be around.
Oh, here come the excuses now.
No, I go to Madison for everything. She's my pocket sergeant. Hey Flop, did you know that Madison got put into PNT literally the day after I got promoted to full officer?
Really?
It's crazy, right? Also, I'm griefing LSPD by taking Luca's call sign and staying here.
Okay, I'm just offering her some unmarked time because she's going to search for weed minutes. So this is all fixed up. Do you have keys? Yep. I can't do plain clothes, just the unmarked vehicle. So keep it to like an hour at most. Okay, please.
for weed.
Okay. Like an hour,
Literally
90
starting
minutes
on
max.
Okay.
Find some.
Call records.
And then leaving.
And I'm gonna say
One of the sergeants spoken, or the seniors records first.
um Manny, call records. Yeah, this is interesting. Actually, you know what I just realized? I didn't go through these other phone numbers. Chat, we can do more subpoenas stuff. Ow, my fucking tailbone. You're good. Okay. Let's see what I can figure out here. Let's see if we can figure out some of these phone numbers. Interesting. Okay. You know, I'm noticing a pattern here. Well, it won't pop up, but Carlos Sanchez is a really funny what else we got here? Let's just go down the line. Fuck it. No, well that was easy. Well,
Dispatch is going to be 10-7 a couple mics.
that might be rough. Maybe. $726 would have been okay. We may have to question Andy. I'm not sure yet. Because unfortunately, it looks like one of the... So, clip called Manny. Unfortunately, not the day of, so it's hard. Still don't have this number though. I don't know who the fuck this is. You know, this is a really bad time with the election coming up, dealing with a fucking homicide involving members of the HO fucking A. God damn it. I'm going to the roof. Oh.
What led to writing it? Furthermore, not only what led to writing it, but also like what were all the decisions sort of like along the way? I want to kind of like understand that first, because you know we might be missing some context.
Yeah, sure. So first and foremost, the first report involved, there's 5 reports, I'm sure you've seen it, was the single largest heroin bust I've personally seen as an officer inside the department on a single individual outside of any storage raids. That then followed with 2 incidents after that, where he was found with 2 syringes and then 1 syringe, I believe, after that. So we had 3 instances of him being in possession of felony amounts of heroin in multiple incidents. Furthermore, government equipment being the IFACs, he was previously employed as a DOC officer. He was then using police equipment over 2 incidents over the 5 reports.
So, I just realized this. Manny actually made a lot of calls this day. Unfortunately, one of them we won't be able to call because Cheddar's dead. That's why it wasn't popping up. Yeah, Cheddar's dead. So, unfortunately, we won't be able to talk to Cheddar. Jesus, we may have to talk to. We may have to talk to Julio, and we may have to talk to Andy. Now, my idea about this, and the reason why I think we need to establish this. So, here's my thought process with this right now. Obviously, Manny reached out to a lot of members of the HOA prior to the back and forth between Kleb and Manny. I'm curious to know, because these phone calls happen pretty much in succession, to some degree, right? These phone calls sort of just went on, and each of them lasted roughly, I mean, Andy's lasted quite a while. I think the question that comes up and the piqued interest that I have is, do any of it, and it's not really incriminating, but it would be interesting to know if any of the conversating that happened between Manny and Jesus, Julio, Andy, and Kleb had any sort of relation whatsoever on the 26th. And what's more interesting, now that I'm realizing this, hold on. I need to figure out how to get the dates off of.
Dispatch 580 attempted to catch up to a black Comet Retro occupied 2 times. It is stopping in the Mirror Park Boulevard Casino parking lot.
All right.
Gonna be moving to a 38. Again, black Comet Retro occupied 2 times. Final stop is at casino parking.
69776. 10-4, 1038 casino parking 0112. 95.
Sorry, give me a second. I forgot to do this. I do this with all my cases now, and it's so fucking smart.
Dispatch 69723 casino parking 38.
Hold on.
10-4 attaching you 0116.
I'm connecting dots right now. So the reason why I do this is because, and it might look a little confusing maybe at first. I can't scroll because it's fucking up, but I will just show it to you like this instead. The reason I do this is because at least now, if any employment changes at any of these places, it's noted that at least moving forward, we're able to see if something changes with this profile, which is good to know. Because if we start looking into this and we have reason to believe that it's Kleb right now, it's more of a piqued interest to know if they try and cover anything or cover asses in that regard. So, would you have to pull Andy in before the election results? No, people that are mayors can still be arrested. I mean, there's nothing different about it. The question is the mayor position a government position? And if it is, and we treat it like a government employee, the issue that I have is that EMS are government employees, but we don't actually have to take that to the docket. I don't know if we have to take the mayor to the docket. That would be an interesting one if Andy were to come up as a potential suspect. She's not a potential suspect, but she's at least witness to having a conversation with Mandy days prior to his homicide.
L16, 1041.
Of 16, 10, 14, 1, 0, 1, 42.
Dispatch 1239, 10-8. Taking up on 38.
Oh, okay. So I guess
697 activated with the black and
Jesus
color
let Manny
comment.
know that
They're
Cheddar died,
turning,
actually.
Heading out towards the casino.
Yeah. Okay. So, God. Okay. Hold on. I don't like the red. Let's go with like a, yeah, that works. Yeah. Right now, Jesus, Julio, and Andy are persons of interest. Let's start building a persons of interest list here. Unfortunately, the persons of interest is all going to be kind of copy paste here, but that's fine. Let's add some names here. I don't know how to spell hate. Oh God. I'm so bad with names. Hold on. I can find it real quick. Maybe not. I'll go back to it. It's fine. I'm not even gonna add them actually. They're just persons of interest. Okay. 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 This is rough, man. So right now, I know I'm not doing a lot of talking. This is kind of damning, unfortunately. Cleb don't look good in any of this at all for that. Okay. Let's go butt into this conversation real quick.
But let's say, you know, there's a group of 4 individuals. They're hanging out on their block or wherever it may be. And
Little
another
background
crew
noise
comes in for the 3rd times and absolutely dumpsters them. Now we have enough cops to process a handful of them. The other ones, we can't, from what we can tell, they're just chilling and they're just getting blasted up for the 3rd time. So something like that happens, we have to end up discerning, okay, well, who are we going to charge here? We're just going to take their shit and let them go, right?
Yeah.
So there's more context to a lot of these things, and it's not always going to be like laziness or whatever it might be. With all that said, and the reason it even got brought to my attention and why, you know, this conversation is happening, is
okay.
I don't generally think that warrants should ever be written. And I'm not the only one that feels this way, right? This is a much bigger conversation. Where outside of there at least being a primary in the time zone that individual is operating is the lead of it, right? So even if, like, for example, let's say you find something and you're like, holy shit, I found a pattern for some suspects that are doing something and I don't think anyone knows about this. My recommendation would be find either a detective or somebody in that shift that may be interested. Have them sort of be the lead and work with them to produce whatever it is you're producing. Because the optics of going after individuals in a different shift isn't a good look. It draws a lot of eyebrows, right?
I get what you're saying there, sir, but I would simply say that he was my mayor for 3 months, 4 months, whatever it was. I think we've all been involved with the person. It's not like it's someone that I have never seen in my entire life either. I do frequently roll into shift 1 and shift 2 on the weekends.
But so let me like pose like an example of this, right? Let's say this and this is
okay.
Let's
good.
pose this as an example, right? Because I do think it was good work in general, right? If so, for example, let's say this was signed.
I'm fucking cooked, dude. Holy crap.
You go raid the properties the guy's asleep. When are you gonna be able to interrogate him? Are you gonna be coming on duty for like what is now gonna extend to do hours at a time into a shift that's not yours? Are you going to be prepared for when some of the actions that you're taking might result in now shootings and a bunch of other things? So now you're sort of becoming this lead for somebody that's in a different time zone, and there's a lot of things that are going to stem from it, right? Now, granted, in a idealistic, in the most idealistic scenario, the UPD
I'm
as
so
a whole
fucking
would be
cooked.
like, you know what? We're going to help Churro where he needs it in that shift. But at the end of the day, you're not going to be present to be coordinating and making those decisions. And what I'm describing here, and this isn't even specific to this suspect, but this is more like a generalized thing, is that this is
I keep
not
looking at
something
these
that
fucking
is
subpoenas, man.
desirable,
I'm missing something. I don't know what it is. It's
right
bothering
from
me.
the very top. Like, this is not, if someone else came down here like a lieutenant and tried to argue for this, I would say they're in the wrong and I'd redirect them somewhere else. Are you kind of picking up on what I'm putting down here?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, sir, but as I said at the start of this conversation, I was trying to get it signed and handed over to someone in the shift, being you, to show my good work and what I can do. So I was never planning to be the lead in this. I don't have investigation skills like anyone else in terms of interrogation, so that would be quite honestly something that I would like to sit on, and very much I can sit on
Hey,
at
sus
certain
photos.
times when
There's really
it's a
nothing. We just
high-profile
need to
case.
we just need to go for
I would
Kleb.
note that I have a history in the city of waking up at 5 a.m. if needed, or various things.
Kleb's the
no
only
matter what
person
the
of
time.
interest
So,
we have. I would hope
been
that
there,
if
done
anything,
that, sir.
we would have something PC wise, but I doubt.
I'm used to doing that. I'll put it that way.
And I think that is, at least for me, like kind of the differentiating factor between this conversation going better than I thought it would, because given the fact that your intent was to do this and then say, here, I got the warrant going, I think that kind of absolves the bigger
Who's
concern,
been
right?
subpoenaed
Is that,
so
okay,
far?
well,
So far,
the intent
it's
wasn't,
here. I'll show you.
Yo, I'm gonna get these warrants, and then we're gonna wake up one day and
Tessa,
someone
Manny,
at different shifts properties have all been raided. Right?
Manny's properties.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean,
medical
quite
report for
frankly,
Manny.
in terms
Now we
of my
need.
care for Mr. Langbuddha, it's actually closer to the ground than to the air. So my eyes right now are on Rust, Seaside, Hydra, and well, no longer Gulag Gang, because I never see them anymore.
Okay. Shit. Unknown number. Just give me 1 sec. Night. Hello.
Oh boy.
You're like the fifth. You're literally the fifth unknown number with a voice changer. Do I know you? The Simone situation. Okay. The dead Simone situation?
What?
He's not dead.
What did Tessa do? Tessa didn't do anything. She received a phone call from Kleb, and we're using that for a timeline.
Could you crank the voice changer down just a notch down? Because I'm trying to comprehend you, and I'm on 16 hours of sleep, so I'm focusing as hard as I can right now. Okay, yes.
That's actually really funny. Tessa did everything. This was all Tessa's fault. Oh god, chat, if you guys are new to the stream and happen to be enjoying your stay, hit the follow button. I'd love to see you come back. We are currently 19 followers away from 36,000, which is pretty sick. Thank you guys. 19 followers.
There's cops that are under on a payroll for someone else.
Isn't that just called a job?
I literally already know that. Yeah, corruption runs through our ranks. What's new? Okay.
Water's wet.
I'm the Pope.
Are you gonna get? I just got a call from someone saying Be careful, you're being watched. There's corruption in the PD. I feel like, well, what's new?
I was led by Pred for 6 months. Actually, probably closer to 9 months. I mean, I liked the guy. He was a good leader, but let's be honest, he was corrupt. It's due to no one.
I love anonymous phone calls where people think they have leverage and they're like, oh, I have this. Okay, good for you. I've known about it for 3 months. Where have you been?
To be fair, and that's the thing, like, they could have something, but like, I don't know if this is actually material or not because a couple of these come in, you know. I need a hook, you know what I mean?
Sure. That's why I usually tell people, I'm aware. Tell me something I don't know. You know, pique my interest here. What's going on? And usually that's when you get the convincing sell, the hook that you need. But people will call and be like, I have this. Yes, I know you have this. Congratulations.
Look at you're gonna say something?
No, we're just talking about the voice changer stuff. The call.
Oh,
nothing important.
Gotcha. Sorry. Continuing on. Okay, so like okay, well, okay, that bit is resolved. I will say then there's okay, so to summarize, look, the intent there was, hey, let me prove my worth, let me show what I can put together. You wanted it all ready and baked and ready to go, and then you would pass on that warrant as kind of like the, yo, I got this ready to go. You want to roll with it. I think the intent there was, you know, I you know, knowing that that resolves, I think, a lot of things in my mind. I will say that in future, the moment a warrant hits the subpoena section, right? Literally everyone from high command, etc., entire DOJ can see it, right? And you have to understand from the like I said, the optics, right? Is like when people open this up and they're like, they're not going to have this context, right? It's going to be like a huge eyebrow raiser, and a lot of times there's not going to be that opportunity to be like, oh, okay, this is very special intent. It's just going to seem like the way that I portray it.
Does it help if I unfollow
I
and follow again?
Just the one thing I would say is I'm around 6 to 8 hours a day a lot of the time. My emails are always open. Anyone can ask me anything. If it's a PD side thing, free for them to answer stuff. I would say the last 3 warrants I put into the DOJ.
I agree.
I haven't had it.
I want to stop you right there. Like, I get that, but the moment you're kind of hitting like almost a, I'm with you in that, like, and that's why we're having this conversation, right? Like what happened here and whatnot. But it's one of those things where when you there's going to be how do I word this? It shouldn't even go in the subpoena channel to begin with, because the expectation is like you're already presenting your argument, right? And it's kind of like,
that's a good way to put it.
It shouldn't have just went in the subpoena channel. And I'm going to have a conversation with Madison as well after this on the same topic. It just can't happen. It's not a desirable throughout the UPD as a whole. Now, given the context that you've given me, I don't think there's any like malintent or anything like that, or doing something outside the fold of like craziness. It was just, you wanted to get a warrant done, present it to investigators, show your worth.
Wait, oh my God, raindrops
I think the only misstep
on Rosebuds. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. What's going on? How you doing?
It probably should have
Chad,
been
how was your
looked at by
weekend?
somebody before it was even submitted. Looked at by somebody in the appropriate shift.
Yeah, I can agree on that, sir.
So the next thing is the conversations about shift 1, shift 2, people aren't doing their job, it's lazy. Look, in a circle right here, I agree with you. There's a lot of fucking laziness. I lose my fucking mind to the point that I'm jaded enough to just be like, I need to now work around some of the laziness while simultaneously try to do what I can do to at least try to lift the standard in a way that other officers are going to reciprocate to, right? Because I know for sure, like going in onto a stand and just screaming at everyone like you're fucking dumb, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, y'all are lazy. No one listens to that, right? Getting screamed at
The
doesn't
blue
work.
method, yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah. You kind of almost want to like explain to somebody like why it's the case, because when they understand the method to the madness, now all of a sudden it's going to click and they understand, okay, well, this thing that I thought was immaterial or was just like just like a minor detail that I never really paid much attention to, like, whoa, it actually has a lot more meaning to it, and I see why.
Was also
people want
working.
us to
Oh
do that,
gosh.
right?
There was a weekend. I don't know. I don't
But
have weekends
my
anymore. I just
understanding is
kind
that
of. I'm
in
here.
a shift 3 meeting, and there was. Hold on, give me a sec. That there was a statement about, that shift 3 is like the best, and there was the biggest heroin bust of our time, and that the other shifts are corrupt and can't do their shit. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Honestly, at top of head, I don't remember. It was probably a week or two ago, but a week ago or something like that. By the sounds of it, would have been before the academy happened. So that would have been a fair bit.
It would have been
I
about a
don't-
week and a half ago.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact wording of using the word corrupt. What if I had said that there was negligence or something like that? Probably. I can't tell you top of head, or I can't recall exactly what I said.
So, I'm not gonna press you too much on that. I think what I will say is it's very important, because we used to, trust me when I say, when I was a cadet, I was in I went through a phase where shift 1 versus shift 2 was bad.
Drastic.
It was bad. Yeah, it was I'm just gonna say it was toxic. Like, shift 1 cops would just be like blah blah blah. Oh yeah, shift 2 just like say all kinds of wild shit that I don't want to really even open up the can. Like, it would just be both sides just hating each other.
It was essentially an internal gang war, if you want to look at it that way. It was like just weird beef for no reason.
Exactly. It's just, shift 1 cops, without knowing what happens in shift 2, would say all kinds of wild shit about the other shift, because they would be like, so and so gang gets away, they never do this, oh my god, it's just like getting killed all the time. And it was just like, it's kind of like talking about a house that you don't live in, like with knowledge, and who knows where the fuck those statements or thoughts would come from. Like, I don't know, like from reports, I don't even fucking know, or like even some showing up on duty a little bit and kind of coming up with a narrative about it. And then vice versa, shift 2 would say things about shift 1.
God.
And what it ended up doing is it
Chat, sorry, my energy is so
prepped and
fucked right now.
created
I'm
an
out here
environment
trying to chug as
where
much
those
coffee as
who
I
did
humanly possibly
were in
can
both shifts
to
would
wake
just,
the fuck up.
it would become uncomfortable, right? And that rivalry went from,
I'll tell you what, though, I'm
was definitely
hungry.
not friendly. It was definitely one that was just completely undesirable, and people didn't want to fuck with that shit.
Let me
Similar
see.
rivalries, in my opinion, started fun, got way out of control with like the LSPD PBSO stuff. That's just, I'm just gonna say it straight up. It's there's certain lines, and the reason I'm kind of bringing up this as an example, that it's important that we may not always, we may have a perception that
Take care of yourself. Oh yeah, no,
another
I'm
shift,
chilling. I'm good.
maybe
I
another
appreciate it. Thank
department,
you, nerdy.
they may be doing things that are not
How's your day going,
compatible
nerdy?
with our like viewpoints, but we are a unified police department, regardless of what
Wait,
shift
what is
we're
this
in,
place?
regardless of what department we're in. And if there's issues, I think it's important that they get
There's
resolved.
no way this place is open right now. Hold on. This has to be a mistake.
in a different manner. Now, maybe
Yeah,
what
they're closed. Okay.
was presented to us as to what you may or may not have said in regards to the thing and, you know, what may have been said. I'm even going to side on the caution and say maybe some of this is exaggerated, but I want to leave you with the idea that if you do find yourself seeing that another shift might be doing something that's out of place, bring it up to one of our attentions and we'll get it sorted. But the last thing you ever want to do in the event you did it, right? Because now I'm starting to second guess whether what was told to me is true or not.
I believe I probably did it, so I wouldn't try and, you know, I'll take responsibility for stuff. I know I've gone up on the stand once or twice in the past month on different things, and, you know, I'm not going to try and wiggle my way out of that.
All right.
Just one thing I would say that'll probably, I guess, give some context. So I'm just thinking back to a week or two ago. I was definitely frustrated at the time. I've constantly brought up for the past 2 to 3 months to superiors about the very basics that just aren't being followed that are affecting investigations. Any shootout where you've got 6 guns found on the scene, only 3 of them will be processed and put into the report. Very basics like that. That I would say I brought it up 10 times, so, and they just the skills don't get reskilled, and it's just such a basic. So I'm once again not trying to
Police work is between us in a setting like this. I have never seen our report writing as bad it is today. It's worse now than it's ever been. And even those who should know better don't know what the fuck they're doing or don't care. There is a lot of not care. Now, the reasonable side of me also understands that some of these officers are having to deal with just shootout, and it's becoming mind numbing, and them even being able to stay on duty to like even handle it, like we're asking a lot just for that, right? So there are a lot of reasons that this is happening, and it's not just stemming from like, hey, this person is just inherently lazy or whatever. There's other factors that are attributing to it. But what I want you to keep in mind, and this is something that I think the healthiest of detectives, I've seen how they operate, myself included, is sometimes you just need to accept the fact that we're not always going to get everything. There are going to be cases where someone didn't log something properly. In fact, for Nakota, I've had him go through evidence lockers in the past and enter stuff. That's just the fact of the matter is that if you were to create a graph, right, you have general patrol on one end and you have investigations a mile on the other end, because objectively, those that are doing general patrol are going to always just be handling situations that might take 15 minutes to maybe 2 hours max in like a shootout. And after that, their job is done, right?
We don't
whatever,
patrol
send
anymore.
them
What's up,
off
Lostner?
onto the next thing. And for us investigators, we're dealing with things that span over many days, many weeks, and something that was incorrectly logged 3 weeks ago can completely fuck our shit up. And we recognize that. But in the interim, we have to learn how to work around it, right? Look for these things. When we find there's problems, like any individual, you tell us if there's an officer that's just, you're finding is you're working a case or you've come across some, I don't want you hunting for it, right? Like don't go do any audits or anything like that, right? Don't go that deep. But if you do find just through your basic work, someone that might be having like a serial problem of like entering evidence, adding titles, just poor like report writing that is affecting your immediate work, let a supervisor know, and then we'll handle it in a fashion that is compatible with Los Santos. I guess.
Yeah, I get you on that. And I would just say I would like to recommend 10 strike points to myself based on an outburst on the podium. I believe that the PD meeting shouldn't be used for that. And I definitely believe that reprimanding officers helps Let's keep people in
Damn,
line.
the accountability. I respect the
I would
fuck out of
strongly
that.
recommend I get strike points, sir.
I don't know anyone else that does that. That's great.
Was there any sergeants on duty that may have recalled this conversation?
I personally don't remember when it was, so
I will say this. There's two reasons I'm not going to give it to you. One, and I have no hesitation when it comes to strikes, trust me. But I am not comfortable issuing the strikes if I wasn't present and don't know the full context of it. And because you're already, so that already cuts it in a bit, and the fact that you're willing to at least take it. Because at the end of the day, you already, I think this conversation was already very healthy, and I strongly believe that going forward, you're going to keep some of these things in mind. And I do want to remind, there's something I want to outline here. We have not, as the MCU, have not done a good enough job making sure that Shift 3 is getting what they need. I recognize, and this is something that I've been figuring out over some time, is that under nobody's fault, really, Shift 3 is on an island. And I don't mean that in any sort of like negative way. It's that there's, the best way I can describe it is a lot of shit that happens, let's say in Shift 1, those Shift 1 officers tend to be able to, you know, if something pops off, like let's say at 11 a.m., 10 a.m. Eastern, right? There's officers there, they're working the case, and there's enough like transitionary period from 1 to 2 that all that stuff can be, by the time the end of Shift 2 happens, the raids are done, the subpoenas are done, because a Shift 1 cop might be able to stay awake all the way till Shift 2, or there's a lot of good transitionary stuff. But with Shift 3, I've noticed that just due to numbers and our personnel numbers, right? Just circumstances that we've got, there are moments of disconnect in communication in terms of numbers that leads to us not being able to help you guys as much as we can. For example, the seaside stuff, like I doubt there's any Shift 1 or Shift 2 cops that could even really speak to any of that. So if you guys are having problems with that, we can't even come in and really comprehensively help you guys. With that said, I know that Shift 3 is going to be a tough cookie for us to fix from the investigative side, because you guys are going to be facing unique problems, and we don't have the representation to ensure that y'all are able to succeed, both in terms of how we expect you to go about things, but also in terms of giving you the tools you need to succeed.
Brian sounds like,
I think this election will be healthy for us, sir, because in the last year we have not
Brian's
had an
talking
active
like Flop's
judge
still a
in
detective.
this
Does he
time
fucking
zone.
know?
But based on, I believe, 3 of the
So
people
confused.
running, I would assume 2 of them win, and they'll be at least helping out in this time zone somewhat. Which, when we don't have an active DOJ, we don't have people doing bench trials, we don't have many investigations going on, at least from my opinion.
I would guarantee you.
I think that'll help out a lot. The last 3 warrants I've tried to.
So
question
I
with the
didn't
DOJ,
do
haven't been able to
Flop's
talk to the judge
resignation
about
letter on stream because
And I'm glad
I
you
just
brought that up. That
I
has
didn't
been a
feel
big,
like it
I
was
think,
something
pain
that
point,
I
and
needed
I've seen some
because
of our Shift 3
there-
detectives go through it. Is
there were,
you know, they're staying up till the crack of dawn just
I don't
to
know.
have a conversation on a warrant, and
I just didn't want to do it on stream.
you know,
right?
it can be frustrating, right?
And
definitely, especially
the one
when
thing that
you
I
reach
did
out
ask
and ask
Lucy
for one
was,
in the next 2
hey,
to 3 days to
did
be
you
available and don't get one.
did you
Absolutely.
or could you do me a
Look,
favor and
here's
inform the
how,
other you know, people? And
for
she gave the
the
thumbs up and
foreseeable
said that she would
future,
pass it along.
the
I wonder if Lucy
representation
passed
for
it along.
MCU and Shift 3 is going to be light, and I know that's going to be problematic, and I know there's going to be times where things are probably going to be sent your way, like, hey, sure, I need you to do this. You may be the only detective there. Here's when you're finding these problems, I want you to let us know. Send us an email. I'm hitting these issues. We may not be able to resolve them right away, but it is something that's on our radar. And finally, what I want to say is, we've been trying to get kind of like a internal academy done sooner than later, so we can kind of set expectations. But I'm going to go ahead and give you a bit of a one-on-one on the direction of this investigative unit.
Sure.
First and foremost,
The fact that Brian is so concise right now after all the time he's been awake is
significantly more latitude than
insane.
past investigative units. Some of that has yet to be seen, because obviously things take time, right? We're still trying to get our feet wet, try to make sure our foundations are stable. But as time goes on, not just our toolings, but our ability to press charges that currently don't even exist is going to increase. In other words, you wearing that detective badge, that detective vest, you may be able to be given a lot more leeway to kick in doors simply due to the fact that you're vetted and that you're more trustable, ideally, right? To get into a door more so than someone who may have written the exact same warrant, but because it says Detective Churro, your word's going to be taken with a higher level of authority, right? You may have access to some toolings that, if in the wrong hands or misused,
Maybe he forgets
would
because Flop
be
is also in
way
this
too
meeting.
much for
I'm gonna be honest with you.
anyone else
Flop
to
hasn't worn
handle,
the detective
right?
vest in a minute, and Sergeant just do
So with
sergeant
that
things.
said,
I just butt into
as
whatever I
you
want now.
investigate, your professionalism, the way that you think about the scenes you come to, the way that I want you to be thinking about things is when you arrive at a scene, right? There's the facts, there's the circumstances, but I want you to ask yourself also the question, is outside of what
Thanks
I'm
for all
seeing
the
right
follows
here,
and all the
this
support. I do
particular
appreciate
incident,
it. I'm kind of just
what
butting in and
led
listening
to
to
it?
this. I don't
Why
know.
is it happening?
I'm kind of just here.
And is what has happened a circumstance of prior events? And that your goal as a detective is not, did you get the biggest bust? Did you win the biggest case? Did you get the most amount of subpoenas? Those are all really cool things to get. But rather, did you get closer to the truth of what took place so that when those charges are prescribed, that those prescriptions are based on this has the biggest positive impact to the public? You kind of see the vibe I'm trying to paint here, Churro?
Of course, and look, in terms of why I went down the path of drugs being the thing that I focus on, sir, I have firsthand seen one of my family members die from a drug overdose. So I am extremely invested in making sure that people don't have the same thing happen to them.
Hell yeah. All right. I think this is a very healthy conversation. Like I said, any questions like this come up, there's moments of like, is this how we want to go about things? Please do reach out. We're one of us supervisors are gonna, do our best to, have those conversations. And even if that means one of us has to come around, into a shift that we might not normally be in to have those conversations, we're gonna go and do so. If you have suggestions, and this goes for anyone in shift 3 that's a detective, whether it's like in terms of how y'all operate with the numbers that you have, we are open ears, because like I said, we don't currently have a solution at present. So I know Flop, I trust Flop enough that like, look, if you gotta, you need something to lean on, talk to Flop here, right? And our paths cross enough that hopefully some of that conversation kind of trickles its way.
Oh, he doesn't know.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense to me, and I can be around a little bit in shift 1.
He doesn't
on
know.
Friday, Saturday, so I will endeavor to cross paths with you then as well, sir.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
fuck.
Like if it's pressing, man, like, yo,
This is
some shit's going down,
awkward.
someone's doing some
Oh,
corrupt shit,
no.
like straight up tell one of us. And we're gonna make sure
Why doesn't he know?
it's handled appropriately. Or anytime you need any guidance on something, you have questions, like, we got you. So do you have anything for us, or anyone else want to chip in?
Nothing more from me. I appreciate the time.
Absolutely.
I'll just chip in that, you know, I dabble somewhat into shift 3. It just depends. I can't say that it's a reliable thing, but you can always reach out to me, and I can do my absolute best to be around. You know, if you need me here face to face for anything. All right.
Sure, I appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Churro. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day, gentlemen.
You as well.
Have a good one, Churro. Well, motherfucker.
Well, I have another fire for you guys real quick before we go to that.
Yep.
Lewis Brixton is around for the first time in forever. That is, it's the guy that got lit on fire trying to go meet fate on his own off duty. He should be suspended, I was told, but they are shooting over there. I'm not sure.
I don't know the full I know that the conversation happened in terms of, I don't know how long, if it was like,
How do you spell it? BR what?
Brickston. There's a Brian, for
He has 0
you-
strikes.
Yeah, there's a command report about it 21 days ago. What the fuck is going on? Oh fuck. We're about to get fucking donut walled.
Okay. So yeah, he has not been spoken to. So maybe let's have that conversation as well. Should we go help with this?
It sounds like we are going to be one of the few units that are still standing,
Yeah.
so probably.
What is this? Like, what's happening?
I think this is sounds like the S plus.
Oh, who normally shooties around this time?
This
He
is,
said it was Seaside.
yeah, I was gonna say this is most likely Seaside.
Come back. You're not driving there.
I was listening on
Oh,
2, and then
was it?
on 1 when it went to 1. I think they said that. I don't know.
Top of Red Garage Hill.
In a large portion of these bigger calls recently, Seaside's been retaliating on the level of heavy lethal retaliation. So
Well,
I'm gonna go top of Red Garage and try
Um,
building.
yeah. So in regards to this conversation with Churro, I'll say, I don't think I've seen someone handle themselves and given this as well as he has. Given the intent that he's given, like, I'm kind of like,
No,
okay,
thank you for the 4 months.
I
Appreciate
understand the
you.
logic was going down. Like, I think his intent was like, look, it's you know, I'm just gonna write this. It's just going to the judge. Decided they don't. It comes to us, and then we do with it as we please. I think he just simply wasn't aware of the fact that, you know, you put in that subpoena. There's a lot of people that are going to be reading that, right? Like various judges, various command members, and it's going to draw eyebrows. Like, why is someone outside the shift, like, filing, you know, raid warrants on like 27 properties for incidents that he doesn't really have intimate details with? That's kind of the best way to put it. But I think he just simply didn't realize that, but his intent was fine. I will say that I do think he still needs to kind of be monitored to ensure, you know, just to make sure that what he said holds true. In regards to the things he said, he seemed understanding of it, but you know, I'm willing to get the, you know, absorb him over the next couple weeks and see how things are.
I could understand maybe the I don't want to use the word confusion, but I could understand the eyebrow raise, because on paper, you know, I don't want to say the words "it looks bad," but you know what I mean, right? It's one of those like question marks, like, okay, why are we following through? So I could understand maybe why there's confusion, or maybe the eyebrow raise, like you were saying. And I think the way that he, granted, I stepped away for a few minutes,